Welcome to the Straight Out of Home Video podcast, part of the Geeky Waffle Network. Today's episode, we're talking about Tarzan Jane, the 2002 sequel to the 1999 animated film Tarzan. I'm Candace, and with me are my co-hosts Bree.
Hi.
And Arezou.
Hello.
Okay, did either of you watch the television series The Legend of Tarzan? That was on Disney Afternoon. I did not know
there was a television series.
Yeah, me neither.
My sister watched the TV series, so I watched bits and pieces of it. I wasn't really impressed as a preteen, to be honest.
Well, if this movie was any judgment, I could see why.
Okay, Brie, can you give us a short summary of what this movie is about?
So, Tarzan and Jane is they're kind of self-contained episodes, is how it read, because it didn't really flow well. And they were kind of all flashback related. Am I
these
right?
are actually 3 unaired episodes from season 2 of The Legend of Tarzan.
From this only had 2?
Yeah, they only had 1 season, and I guess they made 3 others, and then they were like, no, you guys aren't getting a second season, but we already made these 3, so let's make it into a DVD to sell some DVDs,
some movies,
I guess.
All
so
right.
Belle's Magical World then.
So
yes,
the first one was Jane and Tarzan's first wedding anniversary, and
that's the follow through. That's the, what is it called?
The frame story. The frame.
Sorry. The frame story, and they're going through flashbacks.
Yeah,
so
Jane's trying to figure out how to celebrate their first year anniversary. She has Turk and Tantor.
Tantor.
Yes, Tantor. Yeah. And they're everything she brings up, they're well, do you remember this time?
I always hated that. It doesn't really flow together because there's such random moments. I don't know. I didn't really like it. Can you tell I didn't really like?
The animation was better than I remembered from the TV series, at least as a kid.
Well, anything is better than Aladdin 2.
That's harsh.
That's the bottom line for us. That's how we judge all of these things.
Really? Hunchback 2 is better than Aladdin 2?
The animation.
Really?
Oh,
you think so?
Did you not see?
No.
Jasmine looks
I could not recognize Esmeralda and Hunchback 2.
I was Hunchback 2 had a $5 budget.
I don't know her.
They gave them $5 and just went, have fun, make a movie. Whereas Aladdin 2, at least somewhat makes sense.
Plus, they have the people working on the TV series, too, so they actually, know how to draw the characters.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I mean, it's not a high bar to cross, but,
True.
Yeah. Okay, so the first story is when 3 of Jane's school chums come to visit her in the jungle. This jungle gets a lot of traffic.
But that doesn't make sense story-wise, though.
What?
That doesn't make sense story-wise. I don't understand the timeline of Tarzan and Jane.
It's their first year of marriage.
Okay, but didn't they go to the city? Or am I
You're getting your Tarzans confused.
Thank you, because I'm going to let you guys in a little secret.
Ooh.
I always confuse Tarzan, certain parts of Tarzan, with George of the Jungle.
I can see it.
Wait, the cartoon or the movie?
There was a cartoon of George in the Jungle.
It was originally a cartoon, and then they made it a movie, and then in
that's right,
mid 2000s, early 2010s, they turned it into a cartoon again.
Okay, see, everything kind of is a blur. Basically, the only thing that sticks out to me from Tarzan the movie is the Phil Collins soundtrack.
Well, yeah, it's a distinctive soundtrack.
It's an awesome soundtrack. He went hard on that. He didn't have to go as hard as he did.
No, but it was so good.
You'll Be in My Heart. Yeah. Makes me cry. Every freaking time. Oh, speaking of songs, Mandy Moore is singing in this. And
shocked.
As y'all know, Tangled is one of my favorite movies. So I was like, is this her audition for Rapunzel?
Well, she was in a couple things. She was in the
Princess
the second Brother Bear movie as well. So
she was? I have not even seen the first one.
She's the love interest. She's the love interest in the second one.
Yeah.
She's been around for a while with Disney Animation.
Yeah, she really has.
Okay, I learned something new. Okay, so the first story is Jane's 3 friends from school come to visit her because they're worried. They're she's been taken captive by this savage man.
Lucky lady.
Yes. One of them I wrote down in my note says robustly proportioned. Like she's like horny for Tarzan.
Can we blame her?
Yeah, I mean,
No.
like this is a half naked man walking around.
It's a gorgeous half naked man.
I feel like the friends on like kind of gut feelings were slightly correct because panthers do attack them. So it's like the jungle isn't like safe necessarily. They just are wrong about Tarzan.
Yeah.
But like Jane knows how to live in the jungle because her husband has lived there his entire life. So if he was there, they would have been fine.
So she doesn't know how to live in the jungle. Her husband does. Therefore, she knows how to live in the jungle.
She's learning.
Well, okay.
Yeah, she's learning, but apparently in the series, I was reading up about it, and like majority of Jane in the series is just like being kidnapped or being in danger.
Shocked.
Wow. They really made her that damsel.
Yeah. Which kind of like explains why I probably did not like this. So the second story is there's these diamond minders who come in. They come into a trading post, which apparently there's just like a trading post nearby. Again, Tarzan's parents had to build everything from scratch because they thought they were the only two people for miles. Like,
well, they thought wrong, clearly.
There was like this port, like just the other side.
There was a whole town, and they're like, no, we're going to build a tree house.
I feel like someone didn't think this through.
I feel like they're like, we have to expand it. It can't just be Jane and Tarzan.
Yeah,
it's like Gilligan's Island.
There's like new construction being built. I
will say, it did make me feel better because I remember being a kid and being super stressed out that Jane was just going to stay in the jungle and like not talk to anybody ever again. So it did make me feel better that there's like a trading post and like her friends come to visit and she's not like super isolated in the jungle. I mean,
better. Her father's there.
It makes me feel a lot better.
Also, when did she learn how to talk to Turk and Tantor?
Who knows?
Somewhere off camera.
Because they're like having like full conversations.
Well, maybe they learned how to speak English. I will say,
what's more likely, her learning to communicate like Tarzan or two animals who are not built for human speech learning to speak English?
I don't know.
Either way, it's equally ridiculous. I don't even know why I'm asking.
It would have been better if they had conversations in sign language. That would have made the most sense. Did I just kill Candace?
The ape and elephant learn how to speak English.
The intricacies of the English language.
No, Jane is like a zoologist, and she was trying to learn how to communicate.
Well, I'm just saying, maybe they picked it up. I don't know.
Why not, Brady?
They learned a little French on their way home at school.
Listen, she taught Tarzan English. Probably the same thing as teaching the animals.
Tarzan's a human.
But he didn't know humans. He hadn't met one before her.
He didn't speak English before she got there.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
But humans.
But he's also. But I agree with Candace. His like vocal cords are built for human speech.
Right, but he never met one until how old was he when they met? Like
20, I don't know.
21 years of not speaking human and here's my thing. He learned to communicate with every animal. Elephants.
Okay.
Wait, no, so it's more likely that Jane learned to speak with Turk and Tantor than the other way around.
Oh, well, I guess sure, but
it's probably magic.
Because Tarzan can teach her, but like she can't teach them to change their vocal cords.
Fair. But they're speaking in English, Arezou.
Right, but
for us,
I know.
Though. It's for
I know. I was
our benefit.
I know. That was a joke.
Okay. No, but honestly, Brie, I was super confused as a kid when Tarzan is speaking fluent English with his family, and then Jane shows up and he like doesn't speak any English. I'm like, what just happened?
Oh, I know.
And my mom's like, that's for your benefit. He's speaking gorilla. I'm like, got it. Thank you.
Also, it just reminds me of like Pocahontas is like, oh, I felt the wind, and all of a sudden I know how to speak English.
Yeah.
No, you look inside your heart, and you will understand. God, that cop out.
Oh, she should just
okay. So yeah,
sorry, that was off.
Justice for Kocoum. Just because he's serious doesn't mean he's a bad guy.
Exactly.
Truth. He was the better option. Justice for Kocoum.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, look at what happened with Mel Gibson.
He was hot, like hotter than John Smith.
Oh, absolutely. Anyone was better than that.
How we go off subject.
But listen, because this is can you blame me?
A boring movie, Candace. I zoned out. I'm not gonna lie. I did.
The diamond miners, they tricked Tarzan. They're like, yeah, you can have a diamond because Tarzan found out that Jane would want a diamond. Something that got kind of dark was Tantor like helps them out, and Tantor has a bunch of stuff on his like carrying, and one of them goes, does he know that's like explosives? And the other one goes, if it explodes, at least we'll get the ivory. I was like, damn.
Oh, right.
That's dark.
It is. Poachers aren't great.
Yeah. And then the trader was harassing Jane when she was like worried about her husband, trying to figure out where he was.
So is this outpost a really good idea? Because I don't think it was.
Colonial outposts are never a good idea.
That's true.
Yeah, because he's like, oh, well, if something happens to your husband, I can like comfort you. And I was like, what?
Ew.
Okay. And then I have to ask this, and that is disgusting. But where was Tarzan taking place? Because I never knew. Okay, I might sound really stupid. Are there volcanoes in Africa?
I mean,
because there's a volcano in this movie, and I didn't think that was logical.
There are 1,500 active volcanoes in.
Cool, so I'm just an idiot. Got it. Okay, never mind. Cool. It's okay.
I'm sorry. I knew there were some, but I didn't know how many.
I didn't think there was one. So, good on Disney for always doing the research, even on straight-to-home videos.
Well, like, if they're in South Africa, there's not any active ones at least. So,
I think they're somewhere north of South Africa, right?
Yeah, they can't be too far from England. So, yeah, the volcano explodes, and, like, Tarzan and Jane and her father are stuck in an active volcano, and they, like, ride the volcano out. And Jane's like, how is this working? And, like, her father's like, who cares? It's working,
Her dad knows they're in a Disney movie. He's like, don't question it.
Don't question it. We're alive. It's all good. So the third story is another friend of Jane from her childhood named Bobby is found out to be a spy for the Germans during World War I. He was going to sell British secrets to Germany.
Oh, and they kidnapped Jane again. Jane, yeah, you're right. That girl has a stroke of bad luck in this jungle.
I have a very distinct memory of watching this third scene like years ago. And just remembering, like, seeing Tarzan running, like, not running, but, like, being alongside a World War I fighter plane. And just being like, what the hell am I watching? Like, that is such a clear, like, thought that I remember in my head. Just like, what the hell is this? This short, like, I don't know. It felt very discordant. I don't know if the two of you felt the same way.
It felt so bonkers.
It feels so far away from the movie,
Yeah, because it's, like, Tarzan and an airplane. I just remember the two like not meshing in my head and being like, I don't know if I can reconcile these two.
You know what? It reminds me of kind of like the Emperor's New School, the spin-off of the Emperor's New Groove.
I only vaguely remember that.
It changes things and it expands the world in weird ways, I mean, the Hercules TV series did the same thing, but I feel like they were still playing with the same tropes that it made sense. Oh, I was talking to Brie earlier. I think was it today, Brie?
Yeah.
I went off on a tangent about how good kids today have it on their spin-off materials. I was like, the Monsters at Work animation is even better than the Monsters, Inc. And it's quality too. Same with Tangled. Tangled series was so smart of changing the animation to 2D. So then there isn't any comparison because Brie and I were talking about how like the tree surfing is just so hard to watch with this movie. Because it was so well done in the original.
Right. Yeah, because I guess that's the problem when you're trying to like stick to the same animation style, but you obviously don't have the same budget, you don't have the same amount of time. Like, it's inevitably not going to look the same.
Yeah. Who wants to guess what the critics score for this is on Rotten Tomatoes?
23%.
Okay. Brie?
I was thinking around the same, so I'm going to go with 21%.
Y'all are both over. It was 17%.
That doesn't surprise me at all. We were being very generous.
Windows to the Movies, Jeffrey Chin said, created with the effort it would take to cut 3 pages out of a magazine and staple them together to form your own magazine.
That's unfair. That takes a lot of effort. You have to pick the right 3 pages.
Just when things seem like they couldn't get any worse, a couple of songs from Phil Collins and Mandy Moore remind us just how deep the bottom can be. Which I don't think is fair. Leave Phil and Mandy out of it.
Honestly, don't drag them into this.
Yeah. Okay, what do you guys think the audience score is?
Well, after that, 15%.
Okay, Brie?
I feel like audiences might be a little more generous, so I'll just stick with like 20%.
Yeah, 30%. So
Oh, dang. Very
It's-
generous.
a lot of people are like, this seems just like a few episodes of a TV series. And it's like, it is.
I guess like it might be different too if I really actively had fond memories of the TV show, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe I would feel different about this, but how they treat Jane, I don't like how the use of just a woman to being like the catalyst for like the guy to be the hero. You know what I mean? Like Jane could have found her own in some of these, but every time I feel like she was just in trouble.
Yeah. People compare it to Belle's Magical World, and the Atlantis movie is just obviously.
Wait, they compared it to the first Atlantis movie?
No, the Atlantis sequel.
Oh,
the 3 episodes from a TV series that are like hastily stitched together.
Yeah, for a moment I was gonna be like, whoa. But okay,
it actually fair. The Atlantis movie reminds me of this. How different the TV series is because they want to do new things. I mean, like none of the main cast is back. They do a fine job. I don't feel like any of the voices were that iconic.
And Tony Goldwyn's got a sexy voice, though.
Yeah, that's true. Michael T. West, he has a pretty sexy voice as Tarzan in this. He does a good job.
Okay, fair.
Okay, anything else y'all would like to talk about this movie?
No.
You know what's funny? We should mention this at least, that Alexis Dinzoff was Nigel Taylor, Candace.
Yeah. Yep, and I remember seeing that episode specifically because of him, because he was one of my celebrity crushes.
Yeah.
He played Wesley
in Buffy and Angel, Arezou.
Mm-hmm.
No, I know who Alexis Dinzoff is.
Oh,
he's in that.
Okay, good.
He's in that Much Ado About Nothing remake that I absolutely adore.
Yeah.
With Amy Acker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yes. Alexis did a great job. There. We found something positive.
Oh, and Tara Strong, obviously.
Yeah, Tara Strong, Jim Cummings, Jeff Bennett. We got our all-stars. Gray Delisle, Frank Weller, Steve Lauder
the voice acting
directed
was fine. I really do feel like it was script-wise and just story-wise, you know. It's a little cliche, a little trite.
Steve Lauder, who I absolutely adore. He's like one of my favorite producers, directors of animation. I think this is like one of his first like big things, and I don't feel like he had a lot of creative control.
Probably not.
Because he from this he would go to Kim Possible, and Kim Possible is freaking amazing.
Miles better.
And also he did Tinkerbell and the Legend of the Never Beast, and that movie made me freaking cry.
It was my favorite one.
Exactly.
Which is funny because there's like barely any Tinkerbell in it, and probably that helped.
Okay. We're just trashing other movies today. Okay, we want to know, do you remember this movie from your childhood? Do you remember the TV series? You can find us at thegeekywaffle.com. You can find us at geeky_waffle on Twitter, The Geeky Waffle everywhere else, including Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Patreon, TikTok. Join our Patreon to get exclusive content.
And to join our Discord.
Yes. Thank you, Arezou and Brie. We hope you all have a happily ever after until it's your anniversary and you start talking to animals.